Alright guys, a lot of you asked me lately, what is your best way to learn and memorize new words? You have learned so many words. I mean, you probably have came up with a method, right? I did. So there's this amazing book that's called How to Be Twice as Smart. It's an incredible book, guys. I suggest you read it. It's beautiful. So the way I memorize words is, for example, let me give you 3 examples. Number 1. The first word that we will have is, let's say, transparent. The second word, adamant. And the third word is, let's say, thirsty. Thirsty. Okay. How can we memorize these words, guys? You might ask me. So, let me explain. So the method that I use is basically associative method, right? You associate the word with something so that you can remember it the moment you need it. What does it mean? So number 1, try, and I know guys, what I will tell you will sound crazy, will sound out of the gate, will sound so unfamiliar to you, but this is the magic. So for example, transparent means invisible, right? Something that is invisible. You can't see it, right? For example, there's a transparent curtain or anything. So what you could do is you could think in your head, how can I divide this word so that it makes no sense, it sounds funny, but how can I link it so that it makes or gives me the exact same meaning? For example, transparent could be cut in 2 parts, right? Transparent. So parent, you may understand, parent, mom, dad. Trans, you know trans, right? Like, you know what trans is. And so you add these 2 words together. So you think to yourself, transparent. It means there is a trans person who adopted a child and they became a parent. And so they are, for example, hiding from society. So, in other words, they are invisible. For example, I'm just giving you an example, right? They are invisible. So this would be you will never forget this word. And most of my students never forget this word because it's such a vivid example, right? Transparent. Another way, for example, adamant. You could do the same thing. You can divide it into parts, Adam, and. And so you can think about, so adamant means stubborn, right? Means like just going their way. So for example, you can think about Adam in heavens, running, very angry, and stepping on ants. Imagine that Adam is very angry, stubborn, just doesn't listen and doesn't care, just runs and squashes the ants. So adamant. The moment you want to say that someone is stubborn, you can say, oh, you are an adamant person. Adamant, right? You don't listen, you just squash those hands and adamant. And it's also important for you to link it in your head. Think about it. Be creative. It takes 1 to 2 minutes, but if you do it well, you can remember this word for a very long time. For example, the next word is thirsty. You may tell me, okay, Kamal, those are 2 words, okay, very easy words that you could make it. But there are other words that maybe we can't divide them into parts, right? Maybe you're just giving us some convenient examples, but not every word works. Let me tell you this, thirsty. So thirsty, you can't divide thirsty in any way. You have to be creative. So for example, thirsty, I think you know what it means, right? It means that someone wants to drink water, it's very hot. So what you can do is you can take away the S. You can say, for example, 30. Okay? Or maybe let's do it like this. 30. Imagine a man in his 30s in the deserts of Sahara, right? Trying to survive on this desert. on the sand. And he's thirsty. He's crawling, trying to get to water. Okay? He's 30 years old. And also the S, let's imagine the S is a snake. And imagine that he sees a snake. Or imagine that there is a snake beside him trying to also get some water. So the moment you think of a snake, you think of this man, 30 years old. 30 years old, snake, 30, thirsty, thirsty. So you can link it and be creative. Be very creative. And this is, guys, the best way to learn words. Just association. This is a habit for now. So anytime I see a new word, I associate it using this method. You either divide this word, and by the way, it doesn't have to be an English word. You can, for example, come up with your language. For example, let's say the word, okay, let's say marker. Okay, marker. Okay, for example, let's take this word. So let's imagine, how can we do it? What can we do? So we can say mark. So this is a marker. But for you to remember it, you can imagine teacher mark. For example, means to make a mistake, but let's say there is no specific word that you can link with this one. Try to be imaginative. Think, for example, for a word that is close in your language to this word, or so mark. You can think about the word mark as marking, right? You mark. This is mark. I mark something. So mark. Be creative. You can also like divide it in 3 parts. So you can think about mar, maybe it's a teacher, your favorite teacher, for example, mar, and then cur. Maybe it's another word in your native language. So just be creative with it. There is no rule that you can, associate. As long as you successfully associate this word and remember that this word means marker, you are successful, you are done. That's exactly what you need to do. That's it. This is my method, this is how I do it. Sometimes I memorize words with crazy associations, with crazy imaginational stuff. You're free to do the same thing. Like I said, as long as you can remember it when you need it, you are successful, like you have done it. If you can't remember when you need it, that's the problem. Because you need to, so in order to remember this word, you need to have a bookmark. Bookmark. Do you know when you read, you have this bookmark in your book? So, or trigger, let's say trigger. You need to add a mental trigger to remember this word. So for example, when I see this, I can remember my teacher Mark, or I can remember that Mark is a verb, or I can remember that, see, like I try to associate this object with the teacher, or for example, adamant, right? I want to use this word. So I associate a stubborn guy or girl with the word adamant. So I try to imagine that they are just like Adam, squashing ants, and just walk stubbornly, angrily, ignoring everything. And when the moment comes when I need to remember the word stubborn, I remember Adam. So I'd be like, oh, Adam, squashing ants. Automatically remember it. Same thing with this, transparent. For example, you can't see something, you'd be like, okay, invisible, hiding from society, or maybe trans. You know, these associations that you build would help you. Transparent. So guys, this is the way that I use to memorize words. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you use the same method? If you use another method, let me know in the comments below what you use, what helped you, and I'm looking to see you soon.